Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company coming to you with the 2025 IWC novelties. We have a selection of the new model line from IWC. Heavy on the Ingenieurs, but we do have a pilot's watch in the mix. And we're going to start right here with a first from a famous family. The Ingenieur collection debuted in the 1950s as a technician's watch and an engineer's watch, but perhaps the most iconic version of it was the 1976 reference 1832, the Jumbo Ingenieur, designed by the late great Gerald Genta. The watch in my hand is the Ingenieur Automatic 42, in the image of that 1976 watch, but larger, and now the first ever Ingenieur to be crafted entirely of ceramic. That's bezel, that's case, that's bracelet, extremely scratch resistant. If, like me, you don't like refinishing, you don't like scratches, swirls, and divots, then the extraordinarily hard zirconium oxide ceramic is for you. What's special here is that IWC achieves the same subtlety and crispness of decoration that you would get on a metal Ingenieur. So we have satin brushing, we have media blasting, and then we also have polished accents. The watch is larger than the Ingenieur 40 that debuted in this style for 2023. Right here we have a 42 millimeter by 11.8 millimeter thick by 53.3 millimeter watch, and that 53.3 is from one link to its opposite number across on the other side. So that is the total distance across the wrist. We're going to put it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and I would say this wears really nicely. Being light, it's made all of titanium, ceramic, and sapphire. They're all lightweight materials, but I'm going to recommend this for a wrist my size or larger. So if your wrist is smaller than mine, go with the Ingenieur 40. If your wrist is much smaller than mine, then your wrist might like the new Ingenieur Automatic 35, which you're going to see very soon. So this watch wears well. I think the key dimension here is the thinness. Being under 12 millimeters thick with a sloped flank, it will fit underneath a dress cuff. I think this would look really cool with formal attire. It's definitely stark. It's got a lot of presence. It's not oversized, but it's got a confident swagger about it with a little bit of a tactile undertone, if I do say so. So if you think this is a little bit tactical, you're not wrong. Maybe a combat Ingenieur, if you will, like the U.S. Navy Seabees. Taking a quick look at the bracelet, there is no compromise. The Genta design had an integration of the tonneau style case into the bracelet, and you can see one flows into the other. We have a bevel that runs all the way across the case band over the lug hood and then perfectly down the links. You can see the links are also micro finished and faceted. Taking a quick look in profile, every single link of the bracelet is removable. So there's a lot of precision to the sizing. You've got a lot of sizing options. We have a double deploying clasp. You can see like all of the metal on this watch externally. It is made of titanium. And here's some of that media blast. You can see it's designed to keep the watch light. Twin trigger release. You can see it's a non-sequential close. Either side can close first. Triggers have to be pressed to open this up. IWC, International Watch Company, founded in 1868 by an American, F.A. Jones. It is by far the largest and the foremost German-Swiss watch company. Remember, most of the watches are made in the west of the country, where they tend to speak French. This is proudly a German-Swiss watch brand with a little bit of an American perspective. The watch has a lot to recommend it on the dial side, and you can see that the dial has a nice contrast by virtue of a light coloration of superluminova. So while it is all black, it's not completely murdered out. It's not a gangster watch. There is still a lot of practicality to the contrast by day or night. It is still a good time-telling instrument. Taking a quick look, you can see the grid pattern that's characteristic of this current generation of Ingenieur, and then we have these cantilevered indices, dart style, that point towards the center. IWC did the right thing. The date disc is the same color as the dial. Well done. And then we have a crown, which is not a screw-down crown, though the watch does still have 100-meter water resistance, so you don't really pay a price for that. And that's just a consequence of the way the ceramic case is made. But again, 100 meters, no issues here. We have an IWC caliber 82110. It uses the Peloton pawl-based winding system, which you can see here, rendered in ceramic for greater durability. No need for any kind of lubrication, doesn't create dirt on the movement, a very efficient and resilient system. Released in the early 50s, designed by IWC watchmaker Albert Peloton. You're going to see this system a couple of times today. It was famously influential and the progenitor of every pawl-based winding system that came after. 4 Hz beat rate, 60-hour power reserve. We have hacking seconds, quick set date. It does feature a 5-position high horology style adjustment. You can see the little rose gold medallion in the rotor, and of course the motto of IWC, a good solid watch made in Schaffhausen. You will also find it on the crown of the watch. The movement is nicely sized for the case. You can see it has a combination of brushed satin finish, polished screw heads, snailing across the rotor. There's engine turning on the base plate, and we've got lovely, sharp machined bevels that are clean and handsome. A little bit of skeletonization of the bridges. You can see the rotor features solarization on its center right there, and then we have more solarization on the barrel cover and the ratchet wheel, which looks fantastic. All this under a smoked sapphire. The color is in the sapphire crystal itself. And you can see it pivots on 22 joules, good looking movement, it's tough, it's tanky, it's worthy of a watch that is overtly sporting. So this is the all new and first ever full ceramic IWC Ingenieur, the Automatic 42. So we're going to jump from the 42 logically enough to the 40. I think that's a reasonable transition. We talked about ceramic being very, very resilient, utilitarian, and tough, and now we talk about something different, gold, being very fine and very opulent and extravagant, and that's certainly what we have right here. So this is the first generation of red gold IWC Ingenieur in the current product cycle. So if the current Ingenieur arrived in 2023, you are seeing the debut of red gold on that new model family. So you are looking at the Ingenieur Automatic 40. The watch that you see right here is the 3287-02, and it is 5N red gold, not pink, not rose, but red. You can also see that the finishing is incredibly detailed with polish and satin, a nice distinction, adding nuance and warmth to this already very warm red gold case and bracelet. You can see that the bracelet actually has two planes, that the center links are above the plane of the flanking links, a little detail that I love. You have quite a few removable links here, so no shortage of sizing options. And then a clasp like the 42 with twin trigger release. This one is a sequential close, which means one side closes before the other. If you got your IWC logo in there. I can't overemphasize how meaty this feels in the hand. It's weighty, it's impressive. It is a breathtaking mass of metal. So if you believe that a true luxury watch should feel as special as it is, this is the antithesis of the lightweight watch. This is the super heavy watch. The crown here is a screw down, and as you can see on the reverse side, 100-meter water resistance. Again, I just want to emphasize that these are novelties, which means what you're looking at are advanced press samples. They're prototypes. So keep in mind that the watch you see here is a bare minimum. It's got some handling and wear from journalists who've had their hands on it, and what you get in the boutique or at the authorized dealer will be perfect. This is just a guide. It is not the definitive example. Keep that in mind. Once again, we have the grid-style dial. We have rose gold hands, date frame, and indices. We have no shortage of luminescence once again. The movement in this case is a little bit more sophisticated. So you're going to take a look at the reverse. Now this movement here has a 5-day power reserve. It is the 32111 automatic winding, stop seconds, quick set date, 4 hertz beat rate, 5 position adjustment. You can see that it's nicely decorated with a rose gold rotor, distinguishing this elite model. 21 pivot jewels, circular Côte de Genève, blued and polished screws. And you can see the Edicron fine adjustment system for super precise tuning. I always like to see that because it really does make incredible things possible from a chronometric standpoint. Again, a 5-day power reserve on this one, 60 hours on the ceramic 42. Now let's consider how far the Ingenieur 40 collection has come since 2023. We saw a little bit of color the first year. Now we see a lot. Black ceramic, red gold, and now this lovely metallic green. So this is the Ingenieur Automatic 40, and I do want to emphasize that this right here is going to be a limited edition of 1,000 pieces, and it will be released in conjunction with the Formula One film that's coming out this summer, starring Brad Pitt as a veteran F1 driver who takes on a younger driver in a sort of mentor-mentee situation, and Pitt will be wearing a version of the watch you see right here. So it is distantly motorsports themed in as much as it's associated with the movie, but there's nothing overt, so it still works as an Ingenieur. It is still an engineer's watch. In stainless steel, it's got a good weight to it, though it's not the megaton mass of the red gold. We've got a little bit of gold on the dial here. Now yellow gold contrasting with a lovely bright green metallic. We've got that grid pattern again. IWC once more doing everything right. A date disc that is the color of the dial. You have a screw down crown here. Once again, you have the 5-day movement. You just can't see it, but it's the same caliber that you would have found in the red gold model. The Ingenieur, of course, an anti-magnetic technician's watch. And this one right here, a very low cut profile on the wrist. Like the red gold model, it's 40 by 10.6 millimeters, and then link to link across, it's going to be 50.2. So I'll throw it on my wrist so you can get a good sense of it. And just like the red gold, it does wear smaller than the 42 ceramic. So if your wrist is 14 centimeters circumference or larger, you're going to find this fits really well. It slides easily under a cuff. I would probably go with this over perhaps the red gold, just because green is more my style. I think someday if IWC ever decides to do a green dial with the red gold, that might just be too cool for school. But you can see these two watches dimensionally the same, mechanically the same, with the exception of the rose gold rotor. So it's just a matter of personal style and budget. But they do wear the same way, and mechanically they have the same specifications. For those who are keeping score, this is the 328702. This is the 32, and now we are talking the 328908. So two cool watches, two very different looks, identical fit. Double your fun? Well, the gum had it right. Sometimes two is better. So double your pleasure with the new Ingenieur 35. So we've got two different versions of the 35 here. This is a new generation, and we have references 324901 and 324903. So I would describe this as sort of like a mid-size in the Ingenieur collection, because every watch that's on an integrated bracelet, regardless of who's making it or what model line, it always wears a little bit larger than its rated size. So I'm going to put this watch on the wrist, and you can get a sense of how large it is. This is not being billed as a woman's watch, nor do I think it should be. As you can see, it's actually got sort of a classical discretion on it, and in terms of how it wears, it's not that far off the 1976 original, which I've experienced and found to be very similar in wrist presence. It is a thin watch. There's no getting around the fact that this is a much smaller watch at 35 by 9.5 millimeters thick and 45.2 from end link to end link across the wrist. We will do some loom shots just so you can get a sense of how all of these watches are loomed, but these are the 35s. I know you're going to want to see what the 40 looks like. The 40 looks like that. So we're dancing around in the dark. There is no real distinction in brightness between any of these watches. So now you've seen both of the 35s and both the 40s. You can confirm that they are identical. That said, they don't feel that way. Gold is a very special thing, and the same quality and standard of detail lavished on the full-size 40 has been lavished on the 35. Inside, we have a movement that features a robust full balance bridge mounted balance with the Edicron fine adjustment system beaten away at 4 hertz. This has a 40 to 42 hour power reserve. Think 1847 MC, and you're not too far off. It is a 23 joule movement, and you can see that it features a full gold rotor here with a sort of ETA 2892A2 drop-in functionality. So this is a replacement for the long-serving ETA 2892A2. Both of them have a 25.6 millimeter diameter, so this literally replaces the old outsourced caliber. You can see a combination of blued and polished screws. It's a good-looking movement. And just to be totally clear, because we do have both examples, all versions of the 35 have a display case back and that rose gold rotor. I'm going to show you an example of the steel now on the wrist. The steel still feels substantial, but I don't feel like it's quite as imposing as the rose gold. I think this is a cooler look, maybe a little bit more versatile. This is more New York, whereas I think the rose gold is a bit more Miami or LA. So the aesthetic of this, though, is very classical. You can see it does read more like a 37 or a 38 when it's on the wrist, and super slim. It will fit underneath the dress cuff. Also, it does feature the hacking and quick-set functions. The 40 also has hacking and quick-set functions. We're going to jump now to the unarguable flagship of the Ingenieurs. This is the Ingenieur Perpetual Calendar 41. So if you remember back in 2022, IWC came out with the Portugueser Perpetual Calendar 42, and this is the movement from that. So we're looking at caliber 82600, and the case is steel, 41 millimeters in diameter by 13.6 thick, and then 51.7 from end link to end link. We'll do a quick loom shot here, because I think this one's actually the best loomed watch of the day, though it does have some blind spots where the registers are present. So this is really the best of all possible worlds. You have Gerald Genta's Ingenieur design, and then you have IWC watchmaker Kurt Klaus's Perpetual Calendar system, and then you have Albert Peloton's ceramic-based Paul winding system. The dial of the watch includes elements of the coordinated Perpetual Calendar, which I will demonstrate to you. The original Kurt Klaus system, which was designed on paper by IWC watchmaker and complication specialist Kurt Klaus, that came out in the 1980s, first on the Ingenieur. People don't realize it was on the Ingenieur before it was in the Da Vinci. So this is, in a lot of ways, the follow-up to that original 1985 Ingenieur Perpetual Calendar. And the key is with all versions of the Klaus system is that it can be adjusted using a quick set. So you don't have to look up the moon phase, day, date, month, and leap year. All those things are mechanically programmed. You just have to adjust to the correct date, and everything else moves accordingly. The watch does feature a screw-down crown and a round back. You can see it's still a sporting watch, 100 meters water resistant. The movement here, very similar to what you saw in the Ingenieur Automatic 42 in ceramic, so you're getting a better look at that movement now. Obviously, this is a 46 jewel version because it includes the Perpetual Calendar system up top, but both of them are automatic winding with a 60-hour power reserve. This one features the quick set system for the calendar, and of course they're both 5-position adjusted, which is a high horology standard that's also seen on chronometers. Finishing is identical, that you get a better look at it here than you do on the smoked sapphire of the ceramic. A very cool movement, one that is tough in a watch that is larger but not huge. You can see that it's thicker than the others, but it's not thick. As with the 42, I would say, just because of the link-to-link distance across the wrist, I'm going to recommend this for a wrist of 16 centimeters circumference or larger, but it's a really great look. And if you love the magic of Perpetual calendars, which are able to jump over the complexities of the Gregorian calendar until the year 2100, leap years, irregular length months, this watch can do it. In fact, it has a 122-year moon phase, so you don't have to worry about correcting the moon until 122 years and then some after you set it. In other words, you're covered. We're going to shift now from engineering to an engineered product, the automobile, specifically Formula One race cars. So back in 2023, IWC launched the Pilot's Watch Performance. And although all Pilot's watches do draw on aviation heritage, the Performance was geared towards motorsports, ground-bound speed, where the wings push you down rather than lift you up. And so this right here is the Pilot's Watch Performance Chronograph Apex. Apex for hitting the apex on a Formula One track. And of course, IWC for a long time partnering with Mercedes-Benz AMG. That goes back to 2004, long before AMG was fielding a Formula One team. Now, of course, today in F1, AMG and IWC are partners, and this watch honors that legacy. You can see it's the 388309, that's the reference here, 41 millimeters by 14.8 thick, 51.4 from lug to lug with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The straps feature IWC's Easy Exchange system, which is really great because by embedding the quick release in the strap, IWC allows you to use any standard 20 millimeter OEM or custom strap, and it's a conventional spring bar junction. So instead of locking you into a proprietary strap or bracelet the way many quick release systems do, this one allows you to use any conventional strap as well as the factory pieces, which I really love. You can see vulcanized rubber. It's got a matte finish. It's really good looking. You have easy exchange on both sides. You've got the buckle, which includes the IWC logo and a combination of polish and satin. Taking a look at the case itself, blended lug profiles, very similar to the other Pilot's watches, though not quite as large. There's an expanding bevel at the end of the lug. You can see brushing on the top between the lugs on the flanks, polished bezel flank. We have a ceramic bezel insert, and you can see it is a tachymetric scale, which can be used to gauge speed, such as a race car over a kilometer. The dial is quite elaborate, and you can see that it's a combination of rose gold elements with a lovely polished lacquer, and the lacquer is a multi-layer construct that has wonderful glassy mirror-like profiling. Taking a quick look, there's a lot to see in the dark. It's a very well-loomed dial. Not every IWC Pilot's watch is fully loomed. This one has every numeral and every index, so it's easy to see. The watch also features a day and a date complication, and taking a look at the crown, once again, Probus Confucia. Pull it out all the way, hacking seconds. Now, pull it out to its intermediate position, and there is a double quick set for the calendar, so you have the day and the date. Now, the watch is powered by movement. You can see under another smoked sapphire. Take a look right here. IWC Pilot's watches for a long time, 60 meters, now 100 meters. The movement, you can see it easily right there. It is the IWC caliber 69385, which is a drop-in replacement for the 7750. So they're both 30 millimeters. So this replaces the old Valjoux 7750. It's an automatic winder. It does have a column wheel system rather than the cam of the old 7750. And as a result, the action of the chronograph is very crisp. It keeps the oscillating pinion, though, and the nice thing about an oscillating pinion is it's a version of a lateral clutch that engages smoothly and seamlessly like a vertical clutch, so you've got that going for you right there. Bidirectional winding, it's got a 46-hour power reserve. It has the stop seconds, the double quickset, 4 hertz beat rate, 33 pivot and again, it has that high horology 5-position adjustment. These watches are prototypes, so once again, if you see something that isn't perfect, they've been through many hands and they are prototypes. What you get at the IWC factory store or authorized dealer will be absolutely perfect, and you can expect perfection. We'll throw this on the wrist, and I have to say that it's a relatively easy watch to wear. Some of the Pilot's watches are huge. This one is not. 41 millimeters in diameter. You can see in profile, 14.8 millimeters thick. And then from lug tip to lug tip, 51.4. You've got the 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. I can recommend this watch for a wrist of my size or larger, so 16 centimeters circumference and up. If you want to know more about the 2025 IWC watches, then reach out to me at tmasso@the1916company.com.